From the news station, Fox 35 News Edge at 11 starts now.
Hurricane Dorian, now a Category 4 monster.
You're looking at potentially life-threatening storm surge.
The prodigious storm gaining strength by the hour, packing a potentially devastating punch. Tonight, people across the state scrambling to get precious supplies and gas while they last.
It's showtime for us, and so we're ready.
The news station with live team coverage, getting you prepared for impact. And breaking tonight, the 11 o'clock advisory is out for Hurricane Dorian. Good evening, I'm Stephen Howe.
And I'm Luann Sorrell. The storm now packing winds of up to 140 miles per hour. Let's get right over to the chief, meteorologist Glenn Richards, for the latest. Glenn.
Yeah, reconnaissance plane found winds up to 140 miles per hour, a massive Category 4 hurricane. Devastating storm. Take a look at the brand new information on Dorian for tonight, showing a very vivid eye. Again, reconnaissance planes just flying in and out all levels of the atmosphere, getting as much data as possible. That data is aiding and feeding our computer models, and that is just critical information. Right now, the warnings are up for hurricane conditions in the Bahamas, and this is what we get out of, again, these computer models. The forecast, the cone of air. But take a look at this. All the fours, 4, Category 4, coming at the state with a tremendous storm surge. But the good news tonight, with this big area of high pressure to the north, it looks like the turn may be sooner and a little sharper. It's exactly what we've been hoping for, but it's still expected to graze the coastline if it continues on this exact path. Again, this would be as we get into the day on Tuesday. So again, some good news tonight. The brand new path has shifted a little bit more to the east. Here's the latest from the Hurricane Center. Winds are 140 miles per hour, moving still at the same forward speed, west-northwest at 10 miles per hour. So it's going to stay a Cat 4. Winds will be about 145 by Sunday at 8 a.m. Again, 156. I believe it is 157 is when you have to get to 157 miles per hour to get a Category 5. 130 miles per hour out across the northern Bahamas. This would be Monday evening, and then the turn begins. Because the turn is going to start a little bit sooner, it may keep the center just offshore. But remember, this is the center line. It could still be farther to the east. It could be to the east. It could be farther to the west. Just be aware. Again, the winds would be 125 miles per hour sustained, with gusts higher than that, and then it cruises up along the coastline with winds of 105 miles per hour by the time it's sitting north of Jacksonville. This would still be a devastating event for our East Coast, but again, the trend tonight is good, taking it to the east. So again, still an 80% probability of a Florida strike with a Category 4 hurricane. The worst weather would be late in the day, Monday, Tuesday, and also into Wednesday. We'll have much more information with those computer models. We're really going to break those down. And of course, much more on the local impact county by county coming up.
Glenn, thank you. The first mandatory evacuation order in our area issued just a few hours ago.
Brevard County telling some residents they must leave. The news station's Lara Greenberg live tonight with more. Lara.
Luann and Stephen, this mandatory evacuation goes into effect on Sunday morning. Some people here already boarding up their homes, their businesses, but they're still debating whether or not they're actually going to leave. Business after business, home after home. Cocoa Beach is boarding up ahead of Dorian.
I bought hurricane windows and everything else, so it's worth it, you know, for the sound of mind.
All day long, you listen to the TV, and my wife scared. It's just hurry up and cover him up.
Tonight, Brevard County issuing a mandatory evacuation for barrier islands, mobile homes, manufactured housing, low-lying flood-prone areas, and those with disabilities. The evacuation in effect Sunday at 8 a.m.
If they need to seek shelter somewhere, they need to start making those motions.
The water's up over the seawalls now, so yeah, we get the water, rain that they're talking about. Yeah, it's not going to be good.
Cape Canaveral Hospital planning to evacuate and transfer patients Saturday morning. But some homeowners we spoke with say they'd rather stay.
We've been here for 20-some years. We've been through this.
Others waiting till the last minute to decide. Got your bags packed just in case?
I just need baggies. You're going to get wet.
He's he's not too worried. He's a pro. But listen, in all seriousness, the county is still finalizing their plans for the shelters. They expect to announce all of that information at noon on Sunday. If you want to stay up to date here in Brevard County, you can do that by texting Brevard EOC, calling 211, or following their social media. Live tonight in Cocoa Beach, Lara Greenberg, Fox 35 News.
Lara, thanks. We're waiting to see if Governor Ron DeSantis will suspend tolls, which he said he would do if mandatory evacuations are put in place. That was done 2 years ago when we had a mass evacuation ahead of Irma. Despite Brevard issuing the evacuation order this evening, which we just heard about, the word to suspend tolls still has not come. We will let you know when that changes. In Volusia County, some voluntary evacuation orders are being issued.
The news station's Brian Scott has more.
A lot of people clearly preparing for that storm out here in Daytona Beach. The county telling them to do just that, take the next few days to batten down the hatches. But the city telling some out here it may be time to just get out now. Work is not over for the weekend this time. Not with the storm blowing in.
Yeah, we did ours with hurricane shutters, the metal ones.
Now, John Snyder.
Yeah, we're helping out neighbor with wood.
Making sure his neighbors who can't do it themselves have safe homes from Dorian's wrath, too. Whatever that wrath may look like. Homeowners and businesses across Daytona heeding the warnings tonight. Not waiting for that uncertain path to clear up. Just readying to take on the wind, the rain, the damage from this thing. Well, some are learning the time to prepare may be over.
Are we evacuating?
Daytona police going door to door in several flood-prone neighborhoods right now, urging residents to voluntarily evacuate. Daytona Beach Shores issuing a similar recommendation beachside, and Bethune-Cookman evacuating students from campus.
We expect to issue an evacuation order between noon on Sunday and noon on Monday.
As in the mandatory order countywide for the barrier islands. Flagler County also looking at that time frame to make that call.
So stay tuned for updates, because this really depends on Hurricane Dorian, which clearly has a mind of its own and is very unpredictable.
As always, some are vowing to ride it out, order or not. But Snyder and his family are not playing that game.
We're going to stay until we have to go. When they say we have to go, we have to go.
Because Dorian's actually slowed down a lot over the last couple of days, Volusia County is going to keep their beach access and their parks open until Saturday at 5 p.m. now, but then asking people to really back off after that. A lot of worry over flooding and that unknown storm surge that could be very, very big out here along the coast. In Daytona Beach, I'm Brian Scott, Fox 35 News.
A heads up, if you were planning on traveling next week, Orlando International Airport is grounding all flights starting at 2 a.m. on Monday. Airport officials not saying when operations will return to normal. So if you have a flight scheduled, you need to check with your airline.
This is a list of local schools that are closing because of Hurricane Dorian. Orange, Seminole, Sumter, Osceola, and Brevard County schools all closing on Tuesday after, of course, Labor Day. Now, Lake and Polk County schools will be closed Tuesday and Wednesday.
Local colleges are also being affected by Dorian. Bethune-Cookman issuing a mandatory evacuation of campus. UCF, Daytona State College, Valencia College, and Full Sail all closed at 5 o'clock today, and they will stay shut down through Tuesday. Seminole State College closing at noon tomorrow and will stay closed until further notice.
Sunrail shutting down all next week. The service was already scheduled to be closed Monday for Labor Day. Officials say it should be back up and running the following week, September 9th.
Drivers across Florida are rushing to fuel up as Dorian inches closer. Gas Buddy is reporting that 40% of stations here in Central Florida are out of gas. Governor DeSantis says State Highway Patrol will help escort fuel trucks to wherever they're needed. And whether you are planning to evacuate or ride out the storm at home, there are some critical do's and don'ts you need to follow.
The news station's David Bowden has details.
Dorian is on track to impact Central Florida, disrupting hundreds of thousands of lives. But now is not the time to panic. It's the time to prepare. Here are some do's and don'ts.
If you do plan to evacuate, here are some things you can do right now to make sure that you're ready. Get all of your cell phones chargers, your tablets chargers. Make sure you have them available in case you have to go to a shelter because you'll need them to keep your devices charged. Also, all your important papers, get them into a plastic bag, your homeowner's insurance, any medical documentation that you need, and of course, your passport. Anything important, get it in a plastic bag, and so you have that along with you as well.
You can also get a couple of power cells and charge them up, just in case the electricity goes out. You'll be able to keep your phone charged.
If you need to evacuate, or if you're going to stay home, head over to your refrigerator and find these controls. The freezer control and the refrigerator control. Turn them to their coldest settings. That's going to allow the refrigerator to dip down into its coldest temperatures, and if you don't open and close the door constantly, it will maintain a cool temperature, keeping your food longer while the electricity is out.
This isn't all-encompassing, but it's a good start. In Lake Mary, I'm David Bowden, Fox 35 News.
The news station is here for you, and we will have special Hurricane Dorian coverage starting tomorrow morning. Good Day Orlando is extending their hours. Meteorologist Jamie King will be monitoring Dorian all night long, and he will bring you the very latest starting at 5 a.m. Well, coming up next on the news station tonight, the chief is poring over the brand new forecast track for Dorian. Glenn is back with the info.
That's right. And with the storm approaching, you'll need to keep your devices charged, even if the power goes out. We'll tell you the best ways to do that.
Now, the Fox 35 Weather Authority with Chief Meteorologist Glenn Richards.
Yes, they will. That's the reason why you should have the Fox 35 weather app on your phone, again, because you can track with the radar. You have the storm tracks, again, for Dorian. Also, of course, as you heard, when the power goes out, these, of course, will keep working. And that also means on there you can stream our newscast live, so you can always definitely keep updated and watch as things are going on. And right now, Dorian is unfortunately a major Category 4 hurricane. A little wider view, again, showing the center of circulation. Just perfect right now for it to get stronger. Winds are 140. Just reading some of the information coming out from the Hurricane Center, some of the new models, recon planes. Again, this could get up to about 145, maybe 150. Don't see it hitting the 157, which is what it needs to hit to become a Cat 5. So it will remain a Cat 4, and at times could actually come back down to a Cat 3 just temporarily with the eye wall replacement cycles. Water temperatures right now very warm, 83 to 85 degrees out ahead of it. Computer models in good agreement. It's going to head towards the east coast of Florida, then start to make that turn. But notice a lot of the models starting to make a harder right turn. I want to show you again the combination of both. You're looking at two of the main models that we always use, the European model, the GFS. The European shows up as the red. So notice how the two are pretty much in sync, and we haven't seen them this much in sync in really about 4 or 5 days now with regards to Dorian and what it's going to do. And you can see both pretty much bring it towards the southeastern coastline of Florida. This is where they diverge a little bit. GFS works its way right up over the coast. The European is a little bit farther offshore, so that's great. So again, if the trend is to move it offshore, it looks like that trend does continue with the European model tonight. As we get into later Tuesday and Wednesday, there they both go up to the north. So again, they're in good agreement. We're going to make this turn. The Hurricane Center says, yes, we agree. They're making the turn, and it brings it up along the coast. Is that great news? No, it's not, because we are still anticipating to have extreme conditions all up the coastline inland. It doesn't mean we're out of the woods at all. And remember, that's just the center point. Models can still be off, you know, so it can continue to work its way inland a little bit and move right near Metro Orlando as the eye. And that, of course, would be still a devastating event in Metro Orlando. But right now, we're looking at the wind field to be increasing our winds here in Central Florida beginning late Sunday. Rainfall amounts, 15 to 20 inches of rain likely. Let's talk now based on, again, the current forecast. If it nudges to the west more and goes farther inland, these numbers are way off. If it goes farther to the east and stays offshore, they're way off too. So this is based on the current situation. 40 to 70 mile per hour sustained winds, Ocala, Gainesville, out towards Chiefland. Obviously, the farther east you go, the higher they go. In and around Metro Orlando, let's see, 70 to 80 mile per hour sustained winds still, even with the forecast track coming right up along the coastline. That would be the center. So again, the strongest winds right along the coastline and just offshore, at least 80 to 110. There could be some areas, especially right across Brevard County, just east of I-95 up into Volusia County, that could still get above 110. Also, storm surge extreme, 10 to 15 feet. Even if this system makes a hard right turn and runs right up the coast or just offshore, we're still going to get 10 to 15 feet in most areas, especially across Indian River and Brevard counties. It will come down a little bit, of course, as you go a little farther up to the north, because all the water is going to be piling up right at Florida, because it's doing it right now just like a giant snowplow, but it's pushing water instead of snow. So when it comes to Hurricane Dorian, we are preparing. We have to continue to prepare for hurricane conditions across all of Central Florida and especially along the coastline. Tropical storm winds will be arriving at 8 p.m. Sunday. Winds will be increasing during the day on Monday, and anticipate 10 to 15 inches of rain during about that 48-hour stretch when all of this is going on. 40% chance of storms tomorrow, 40% Sunday, getting breezy. Monday getting windy, and then the winds pick up as Dorian will be cruising up along the coastline. Again, Stephen Luann, we are hopeful it will be farther offshore, but right now at least it is trending more and more to the east.